Okay, ready? And it's like sliding.
Good morning, sun. I am a bird.
It was back during the war, World War II to be exact. Back when the Japanese were forced into concentration camps just because they were suspected of being a spy. Back when I was a child. I was 8 years old then. I was called a mayor by my friends and family. And I, only being 8, didn't really understand what was happening. My mother told me that the government had sent us here because the Americans were at war with Japan and didn't trust the immigrants from there. It didn't make sense to me then because I was born in Florida, USA, and I grew up there. Still, we were sent to live in Crystal City concentration camp, Texas. I can't remember the address of my old home, my neighbors, anything about life before the camp. In camp, we weren't allowed to leave. They had electrified fences on year-round, but sometimes there is a glitch and part of the fence is down. If you really thought about it, it was technically a present. But nevertheless, in this close community, it was home to me. Everyone knew everyone in this small community. Every day was the same. Wake up, school till 4, dinner, chores, and then back to bed. Wait to grow up and leave this place. But I knew it would be a while before we could leave, before the American government can trust us.
Esther was a simple Jewish girl with simple standards, but the war definitely changed that. During the war, Jewish people were treated the worst among all people. They were thought of as worthless human beings, which meant many of them were killed during the Holocaust.
My name's Esther. I lived in a house. Before, I lived with my family in Paris. One day, when I was 9, there was a strange man knocking at my door. He told my mother and me to come with him. He kept asking to speak with my father. My mother was crying and told him that he was not here. I knew where he was, but I didn't speak. Soon, they took us to a train. There were many people. No one would tell my mother and I where I was going. We heard rumors that they were taking us to camps. When we got off the train, the men speaking Russian from many families apart, including mine. I told my mother I loved her, and then we separated. There was screaming and crying, and many were killed on the spot if they did not participate in what the men were saying. Children my age were put in rooms much like barn. Nobody was fed for days, and most died of starvation. It smelled horrible. There were flies everywhere. Our whole barn was filled. Finally, I decided I needed to escape. I decided I should try during the day. That way, it won't be much of a
Cool.
maybe. There's a barbed fence. I thought I should climb under and risk getting hurt for freedom. The night after, I did, and I made it past the guards without being spotted. Beyond the fence there's a meadow, and I managed to crawl through into the forest. I ran and came upon a village. I was hurt very bad, and my pet was becoming infected. One of the house's windows were open, and someone spotted me. They'd seen that I was hurt and let me into their house. Soon after, I was healed. I thanked them and left so they would not get blamed for housing me. Now, I live with my family in Paris again, and I believe just as you should. I left because I believe in peace and hope.
We were generals for the Nazi army.
We fought in World War II. The war, it was so brutal and so vivid.
Bombs would go off everywhere.
It scarred me for life. I'll never be the same man I was before the war.
These two men were soldiers for the all-powerful Hitler in World War II. Being a part of Hitler's army meant killing innocent people right on the spot without hesitation, even children.
I thought I was doing the right thing for my country, but clearly I wasn't.
If I could take back every bullet that I shot into somebody else, every bullet that I killed with, I would do it without hesitating.
Children, they were so helpless. We could show no mercy whatsoever.
The order given was to kill at sight. And I mean, even as we were little kids, we were taught that the enemy was equal to a worthless, dirty swine.
Hitler was a brutal, selfish, careless, and a pathetic leader. I think I could speak for all the soldiers. At the time, back when we were in World War II, we personally all loved him. But now, looking back at the time, I hate him so much.
Everything there was not pleasant. There were no pleasant experiences whatsoever. Everything was depressing.
To be honest, my worst experience would have to shoot the children on sight.
You can't even explain the terror. I mean, you had to be there to experience it. I can't describe it for you. It's too much. Yeah,
It's scary. It's just, when you think of it, it's scary, and sometimes I still wake up at night sweating. I just can't take it.
I can still hear the screams of the children and everything, because we were terrorizing them. We really were. And I really just hated it.
If a soldier made it out of the war alive, the emotional damage was brutal, sometimes unbearable. Many of them went into depression before, during, or after the war. Some resorted to alcohol to try and cope with their problems. Others went to what we now call mental health clinics, and some of them were lost to suicide.
Yeah!